Hello, welcome to Baron's Game Room. I'm Aaron as always, and to finish off my little two-player games, things I always do for February, I want to talk about not a new game per se, but a new expansion to a game I talked about, I think, last February. I believe it was last February and I talked about, maybe not, but you can go on the stage and find it, Onitama. I really love this game. Me and my wife picked it up on our honeymoon and ended up playing it like a ton on the train ride we had down to San Antonio and over the whole trip and stuff, and love this game. And we've bought now all 3 of the expansions released so far for this game, and when I did a review for it, I only had 2 of those reviews, so since I recently got the Onitama Shadow and Light expansion, I want to talk about that. In the Shadow and Light expansion, it adds 2 new pieces, these ninja pieces to the game. As always, I absolutely love Onitama's style. I love the hand-carved look of the pieces, even if they are just plastic. And basically, this game adds a cool hidden movement part of the game where each player, well, one or both players, will have... Open up, dang it. Will have these... It's stuck. Hold on. There we go. We'll have these screens here that they can stand up in front of them and have hidden behind it some little mats that match the main mat you can play on, and you can have secret movement of your little ninjas behind the screen, which is pretty nifty. So I'll show you more of that. Now, there are 2 different ways you can include this expansion into your game. One is a symmetrical game, and one is an asymmetrical. I'll show you the symmetrical setup and gameplay first. In the symmetrical setup, what you're going to do is you're going to have each player take a sensei and 2 pupils, and then leave 2 pupils of each color in the box, so you have these blank spaces here on the board. Then each player is going to have a little blocker here, and this mat, and their ninja behind it. Now, I know with the way my table is set up, you can kind of see it a little bit. That's one issue I kind of have with the game, but on a higher table, it's not going to be an issue at all. Basically, for setup, you're going to take your ninja, and you can choose to start it in either this space, which would be to the left of your sensei, or this space, which would be to the right of your sensei. Your choice, secretly start it in one of those spaces. Every other part of the setup is the same for the standard game. As for how you use the ninjas, on your turn, you will use one of the 2 movement cards you'll always have access to, just like the normal game. You will end up picking one of the movement cards, and you will move one of your pupils or your sensei according to that card. If you haven't watched the regular video, I'll go over it real quick. The black space is essentially the space that your piece is already standing on, and then the blue spaces or red spaces or sometimes green spaces, the cards have different colors to them, show the spaces they can move to. So let's say, for example, we chose to use this card to move. If I chose to use this card to move, then I can move my sensei here either 1 space forward, 1 space back from his current position, or 1 space to the right of his current position. Once I move him, I can then choose if I want to. I may also move my ninja according to this card. I do not have to make the exact same movement, but I do have to follow the movement rules on this card. So again, for example, I moved my sensei 1 space forward. I do not have to move my ninja 1 space forward. I could choose to move him one of the other directions, like to the right instead. Now, you do not have to move your ninja. You must every turn move 1 pupil or 1 sensei, or your sensei, but you do not have to move your ninja. You just may move it. The other new thing it adds is the new step at the end of the turn, which is you play your card, you move your piece, you may move your ninja piece, and then at the end of your turn, you have the option of using one of the 2 lantern tokens you're given. Let's explain those. At the start of the game, each player is going to be given 2 of these lantern tokens here, and at the end of any of your turns, you can choose to use one of your lantern tokens. You only have 2, so if you use them both up, you won't be able to do it anymore. But when you choose to use a lantern token, what you do is you can choose to search any one column or row of your choice for your opponent's ninja. So I might place this one here and say I want to search this row here for your ninja. They do not have to reveal exactly which square they're on. They simply have to say yes or no. If their ninja is on one of these 5 spaces, they would say yes, my ninja is there. If they're not, they just say no. And then it's search. So unfortunately, this is sort of honor system. If you're playing with someone who's a dirty liar, sorry, this part's not going to work for you. Really, a lot of this expansion is honor system since it is hidden movement. As you're playing the game, if at any point your ninja lands on the same space as one of your opponent's pupils or senseis, you simply reveal that you've moved it there and you've captured, and you end up placing the ninja on the board on that space, and it stays there for a turn. And on your next turn, it'll go back behind your board on the same space. So if at any point a player moves their piece onto the same space as your ninja, you have to be like, dang, you caught me. You reveal it, and your ninja piece is gone and removed from the game. It's also possible, like I was saying, to capture a ninja with a ninja. But the way that works is, if you think you've kept track well enough of where your opponent's piece is, you think you know where it is, you can just say out loud, you can well, you have to place something on the board. So I can place my ninja on the board, and I can say, is your ninja on that space? And then the opponent will have to state whether they are or not. If they are, they show you, great, you've got them, they're dead. If not, you've unfortunately revealed where your ninja is for a turn in an attempt to get them. They will stay there for a turn. On the next turn, they'll go back behind your board again. And that's everything for the first, symmetrical style of gameplay. The winning rules are still the same as a normal game. Either get your sensei onto the opponent's shrine or take out your opponent's sensei. The asymmetrical ones uses pretty much all the same gameplay. It's just only one player is using the ninja. So let's show that real quick. For the asymmetrical version of the game, one player will have the standard setup of one sensei and 4 pupils, and the other player will have a screen and both ninjas and no senseis or pupils at all. Basically, on setup, they can set both of their ninjas on any of the 5 spaces in the back row here. They can't share a space or anything. But yeah, that's setup. And then gameplay from here is sort of just like the standard gameplay we were just talking about in the other expansion. This player is playing normal. They are moving their pupils and pieces around, trying to either get their sensei over here or take out both of your ninjas. Whereas your ninjas, their only goal is to take out your opponent's sensei piece. Taking out pupils is great and all, but that will not win you the game, and landing on the shrine space won't do you anything. The only way for the player controlling the 2 ninjas is they have to take out the sensei. Otherwise, gameplay is the same. On your turn, you'll end up using one of your cards and move one of your ninjas in the way that card shows. And again, if you're ever on the same spaces, you call it out, you show that he catches them, yada yada. That's the only difference here, is that one player is controlling just these hidden ones, while this player is working on a board basically by themselves. Kind of funny. Personally, I really like the expansion. I thought it was a pretty interesting addition to the game. I don't think Onitama needs this expansion at all, because Onitama is already a fantastic game on its own, but I thought it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun. Again, if you have issues with people telling the truth, then it's just not a game for you, because it is very dependent on honor system and all that. But honestly, if you're playing with jerks like that, why do you want to play those people anyways? Forget them. If I had to rank the 3 Onitama expansions that I own, number 1, it's got to be Sensei's Path. That's a must-have with this one. It's just more cards. There's no reason to not really have it. Personally, I foresee a future where they just sort of phase out Sensei's Path and just start including those cards in the main game. I don't see why not, unless they just really want the extra money from you. Because all that expansion is more cards. There's no reason to not get Sensei's Path if you like Onitama. Number 2, this one actually, yeah, I'd say out of the 2 expansions that really add stuff to the game, this is the one I personally like the most. I thought the hidden movement was fun and interesting. I thought it was at a new level of depth and strategy that I was really interested in. With the 3rd one, I don't think it's a bad one, but it's easily my least favorite, being the Path of the Wind or something like that. I actually don't know if I talked about this one in my last video. I might have to do a video just over this expansion. I know it's clear, I've made it pretty obvious at this point. Onitama in general, all the expansions, the Shadow and Light expansion particularly, all this stuff is bearing to prove, guys.